What's one way that you've started to encourage contractors into using AI?
ChatGPT. They just did a study and asked it some pretty in-depth questions. 60% of the answers were wrong.
If you can use that tool, you're going to be more valuable.
What are you seeing where customers are using AI to double check contractors?
They're using them to check Sherwin-Williams paint things to make sure it's mixed right.
What are like the top 3 beginner level AI tools that I can use?
Canva, Figma, and Express can all design websites.
What are some of the creative ways you've seen AI using the...
What's cool is you can now make videos with Express.
We got to rebrand the podcast, Beers with Contractors AI.
Welcome to Beers with Contractors.
All right. Terry. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good, Will. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, tradies. Good to see you guys. It is warm outside. I am loving it. And it is summertime. Well, springtime, but I feel like summertime is right around the corner. Mm-hmm. Have you stocked up on all your baby powder, Terry?
Oh, it's hot weather's hard on a fat man. So,
Yeah. Actually, Daniel, the electrical cooperative that helps us with our camp.
Yep.
I think you may have been in this conversation or within earshot that there is a direct correlation between cooled seats in your truck versus the purchasing of baby powder. So there is a ROI if you get cooled seats in your truck.
Yep.
And thus, this is why I won't buy a classic truck. It's like, I am so spoiled by these seat coolers. I don't know what I'd do without them. I mean, does your Tesla have those?
No, the seat will warm up, which is the adverse of what you want in the summer.
But hopefully, that'll be a new feature. And we're going to get into some of that here today, just on our intro topic. But before we do, hey, like, subscribe, hit that notification button for us. Speaking of subscribers, Green Home Coach, that's Marla.
Yep.
Subscribed. Only took her 2 years. Look at that. Tradesmith, Nefx 97, Drake Truck Source, Remington Pierce, Ashton, City Goose Design. We had several others, but that's a good start for us. Thanks for subscribing. Appreciate you guys listening. Speaking of baby powder, Terry, hopefully the price doesn't go up. Obviously, tariffs have been a hot button for us contractors. And I got to be honest, I'm confused at what's going on right now, left and right, but a lot of data. I mean, you've got some friends you've already started to talk to and industry partners. What are you starting to see out there?
Well, it's starting to hit. I mean, obviously, people are starting to make purchases or stock up on material, and it's been coming. I mean, they've been talking about it. A good friend of mine who purchases quite a bit of steel regularly, he's seen it already hitting him in the material he's buying. And I mean, at the end of the day, that tariff hits that product, and then him as a business, he has to pass it along. Now, if the tariff comes in on steel or aluminum, something like that, I think they're at 25%. The expectation is, well, that product I'm buying is going to go up by that much. And that's not always the case.
Well, I got to tell you, I mean, there's certain trades that are going to really be hit by these tariffs. Obviously, lumber specifically, so much of our lumber, upwards of 70%, come from Canada. And most of our residential homes are built, obviously, with lumber. So those are some big ones. National Home Builder says upwards of $9,200 per home impact in increased cost. So that's risen 34% since December 2020. So here we go again. We were living through the wild whirlwind of supply chain and tariff management. Plumbers, another one. A lot of fixtures, obviously, in our homes come from China. Electricians, which on the electrical line work, because I know you train on that, Terry, with your folks. I mean, what are they seeing on the electrical and line work side?
Well, I mean, the raw material is going to get hit, right? So if you're looking at, distribution side, you're looking at aluminum that's going to be used on those distribution wires. That stuff is going to end up getting passed along. One thing that just came to mind, if lumber prices are going up, right? And this is something that we've seen similar to when the pandemic started, right? Everything became a lot more expensive. The industry, residential construction, started looking at alternatives, right? And so I wonder if you're looking at ICF, which is going to be an insulated concrete formwork. So that's a locally manufactured product. I know there's some companies out of Kansas. And then you're filling it with concrete, which is all coming from the United States. Are you going to see now those alternative building systems becoming the better option?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like necessity is the mother of invention, right? Like
Yeah.
costs are going to go up to the point where somebody's going to figure out another widget. Some other ones that I was surprised to see on the list was appliance installers and flooring installers,
Oh, Soto.
and also gypsum, which I mean, we're fortunate enough to live near, a gypsum kind of, I don't know, what is it called? A gypsum mine? It's really like on the ground. I mean, when you look at it, it's like, wow, what's all this white stuff? Well, it's gypsum.
Yeah, I think Harrison Gibson here in Oklahoma is the one who's going to be pulling a lot of that product. So I don't
Yeah.
quite, I mean, you have to understand tariffs are going to hit you in a lot of different places. The mechanical parts that could be going into the equipment that you're repairing, the chips and the different technology that you're using. It's going to hit us in places we don't know yet.
Yeah, and specifically, like, I didn't realize that 71% of gypsum is imported from Mexico. I didn't realize there was that much coming from Mexico just on sheetrock, right? Maybe this is a sign, Terry, that we're going to go back to wood paneling. The old birch wood paneling. You had it in your home, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
But no, less affected. I was surprised to see painters, obviously, because most of their stuff is locally sourced, but a lot of the materials, the brushes, the rollers, things like that, but also landscapers. Makes sense because, well, can't exactly import a maple tree from, some other country because it's you got to be able to get it planted, and the grass just keeps growing. So hopefully there's not a grass growing tariff on the horizon.
Well, at the end of the day, the tariffs are going to have an effect, and then we're going to move to change how we do business. And
Yeah.
it's either going to be something we eat because it's been passed along, or we're going to make a different choice.
Yeah, we've already seen some adjustment. We're obviously in a steel-heavy business, but haven't seen a massive amount. We've got some of our foam-based products we are starting to see change because there's a lot of imported resins and ISOs that come in. But also, we are fortunate enough to have some suppliers that, have sustained quite a bit of future purchasing before to work through that as these tariffs come in. But even the local mills are trying to just figure out the supply-demand curve because now they're obviously getting more localized orders. That's increasing the demand, so we're kind of getting it hit from both sides. But
Well, what's going to happen, Will, when you have to replace that work truck because it's time to come up, right? That is going to be a cost that you're going to have to chew on.
now I heard a theory about this because we're into our work trucks, right, Terry? Now I heard somebody mention to me the other day who has their ears to the market saying Ford is going to make a killing out of this. But then again, I don't even know where the hell Ford manufactures most of their stuff now. I had assumed it was in Mexico. But also it's one of those where it's like, now I don't know if these individuals have a large amount of Ford stock, but I guess we'll find out. So,
Well, you also have to understand, I think if you look at some of the trucks that are out there, I think a Toyota truck's actually manufactured somewhere in Georgia, right? So it's
and
not
some in Texas. Yeah. In
Right.
Dallas.
Yeah, and it's just not where it's manufactured, but it's components that go into it, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's going to be disruption. There's going to be costs associated with it. It's just a cost of doing business that we're going to have to live with for a while, or maybe longer.
Hopefully our aluminum cans and aluminum bottles don't go up, Terry. Are we going to have to just drink straight from the keg? Is
We
that what's
might,
gonna
or
happen?
maybe, that you do get to recycle those kegs now. So that is the
Oh,
more
there we go.
environmentally
I
thing
was
to
going to
do.
say, yeah, you were really thinking about the environment, weren't you? So anyway, well, hey, we're talking about a lot of physical goods with tariffs. Let's talk about some metaphysical stuff today, some intangibles. That's a big word, isn't it, Terry?
It is.
So this is interesting because I've known this individual for a long time, but we're seeing more and more of this in the industry. So our guest today is the owner of Hettinger Design. He's helped several contractors on developing lead generation tools. He is also an adjunct professor specific to graphic design, typography, and website design. Hold on, Terry. It doesn't stop there. The resume keeps going. He was also the creator of iHome, a home inspection and pest control software to design with report writing, work orders, things like that, as well as one of the reasons I wanted to have him on, the author of Modern Graphic Design with AI. Today, our guest is Neal Hettinger. Neal, welcome to the party, buddy.
Everybody fell
Welcome.
asleep.
Hey,
I see you guys are being very good about not showing the label since you're not getting paid for it, right? So,
well, I'm also trying to give shout out to, for example, Dan Gear, Foster and Gear Structural.
Yeah,
I got
there you
his
go.
koozie here.
Yeah, and I got On Point Services right out of Oklahoma City area.
So, Neal, obviously, extensive resume. You're living like the Forrest Gump life, I feel. I won't give it away. Where did you come from? Where did you go? How did you land up where you're at?
Well, first of all, went to college at Alabama. Most people say, oh, okay, I can hear it when you say Alabama, right? But
There was a bunch of roll tides
Yeah.
out there somewhere to the listeners.
a lot of War Eagles too. Yeah. And, but worked in Nashville, an agency, worked in Birmingham for an agency, and then went to LA. I have a brother that's an actor stuntman and another one that's an assistant director. That's when I learned about making sure if you don't get paid, don't show the label, right? And, they make money off of everything. Worked there, but I just didn't want my family living in LA. So we tried to figure out where to go with storms and everything. And we said, let's go in the middle of the country. So we picked Oklahoma, not knowing a soul, and came here and worked for a company, Century Martial Arts. Since I was a martial artist, it seemed like a natural fit. But then after a while, it's time to go on my own. I just couldn't, since I'd worked with a partner in LA, I needed to work for myself again. It was time. So doing website, graphic design, and I like trying different things. That's the advantage of being in graphic design, is doing different stuff. And when AI came out, it was out long before people even knew about it in the software programs. And I was using it. And I thought, well, it's another great tool. And based on that, I was at a conference at OCCC talking to the dean, and everyone's acting like, what is this? And I go, I've been teaching this for a year to my class. And that class, when they were ready to graduate, I said, put on your resume, you're an AI graphic designer. And before they graduated, 70% of them already had jobs because they got called in because it said AI. No one knows what it is, but let's hire them.
Yeah. Who's Al?
Yeah.
Oh, that's an I, capitalized.
Yeah. Well, there's a person you and I know that calls it A1, and I haven't been able to tell him without getting him upset. He's in the guild, so
he's still on a flip phone though. We won't give him too much grief. Hey, well, it's interesting because I wanted to talk to you, Neal, mainly because this is what I love about you. Take it as a compliment. You're only, what, 28, 29 years old, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got some miles on you, but you got into this and you mastered it. But also, like, you're leveraging it and you're helping contractors and people leverage it.
And I'm surprised how many people use age as a reason to say they can't do technology, right? I have students all the time, and I'm like, how can I do this, And you have trouble with it. It's just a tool. Just like using a nailer, right? You get used to a pneumatic one, then you can switch to a battery one. It's just technology. So
yeah. So what's one way that you've started to kind of encourage contractors into using AI to just kind of instantly level up their branding and visuals? And I know that they probably can find some of this in your book.
Well, believe it or not, the new book is really aimed at them. The one you talked about, which has been out, it's really focused on graphic designers and marketers that are heavy into it. It's a textbook, so to speak. But the one coming out in May, it's marketing design using AI, which is funny. You almost said that. And so I realized, okay, that's a good title. But it's aimed at small businessmen and market people that don't have a lot of budget. They want to create. They got good ideas, but they don't really want to pay somebody. And so there's so many different AIs out there now, free and subscription, that do different things. And the book focuses on posting, and not just AI, but when's the best time? What's the platform? Things like that. But it's teaching you marketing. But the real nuts of it is it goes to AI, and here's this one. Okay, here's Canva, right? Here's Express, and it takes you through it. Because chat, while it's great at writing stuff, makes a lot of mistakes. And I think a lot of people think ChatGPT and go to it. And you need to know, they just did a study and asked it some pretty in-depth questions. 60% of the answers were wrong, right? So you got to really check it, as some attorneys have found out and got their cases thrown out, right? Because they cited fake cases. And the judge called them on it, For AI, it's a way for people that don't have a big budget or a lot of time to create social posts that are more interesting, to create flyers that are more interesting without using templates like everybody does. The one thing I'm going to say is don't do your logo in AI, okay?
Oh.
Hire a graphic designer.
Okay, why is that?
Well, first of all, AI is going to give you what everything else. Remember, it's based on checking what's out there, and it kind of composes it, right? So what you're getting has been done. There's nothing unique about it. It's like going to one of these like cheap graphic design things, paying $25 and you get a logo. You can't trademark it because it looks like everybody else's. And think about how important your brand is. So in that respect, get a graphic designer or a marketing firm. Somebody knows what they're doing. But for social posts, why pay somebody? Because you know how quick they go, right? That seems like a lot of time, energy, money when you can just do it yourself. And there's some real good AIs that can do that. A flyer, right? I get a lot of graphic designers, artists that are mad at me because I'm saying, oh, use AI. You don't need graphic designers. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's some things as a small business person, you're going to say, this I will pay for, like a logo. And this, it's gone and I don't need to spend a lot of money.
Now, Neal, I've heard some people using 4.0. Have you seen that being used?
Yeah, it's better. I don't find people with 5 fingers and 1 thumb as much. But
That's what I was thinking.
yeah, Dolly is good at that too, right? But Microsoft is really good with their Creator and Copilot. They kind of go together. What I found is if you can get an image maker, say like Firefly, and bring it into Express, you get a really good piece, right? Same with Creator and Copilot with Word. I was meeting today at OCCC and the deans, and they were talking about AI, and it's a big problem because Microsoft, I don't know if you guys have noticed on Word, but it comes with Copilot right there on the screen. You just click and it says, do you want us to rewrite this? Sure. Do you want to rewrite the whole thing? Do you want us to extend it? Do you want us to write more? And they're actually in paragraph form, unlike chat. You ever notice chat's in bullets? And Gemini is in bullets. So the professors are like, oh, I can spot that. That's easy. Now they're in trouble because what are they going to do about Word's making it where it's hard to tell. The other stuff you can run in Grammarly and it'll tell you it's AI. I did a test with chat one time. I uploaded some stuff I wrote. I said, did chat write this? And it said, obviously, yes. It took credit for my writing. So I had to tell the professors, don't trust chat to tell you if it's AI or not. So, but luckily I'm a graphic designer.
It's funny. I'm looking through my questions here that Terry and I put together before the show. And it's like, walk us through using AI to create a logo, which you just said, don't do that.
You can, but it really comes out with real basic, plain stuff, Let
me ask you this, though, Neal. So I think it's natural that, like, maybe I'm the contractor and I've contacted the graphic design firm to think that they're sitting in the back office using AI to help generate my stuff anyway. Which, take me through that process, because I know you wrote your book towards graphic design.
Well, I say in there, don't use it for logos. You can tell it's pretty average. It's like AI doesn't know the difference between an app icon and a logo, right? There's a difference between a company logo and an app, right? And it doesn't know, and you won't know. And the worst thing is you'll go, oh, I like that because you've seen it before a million times. Well, how many times have you seen a roof or 2 or 3 kind of stylized roof in a logo? Is that a home inspector? Is it a roofer? Is it a lighting guy? I mean, what is it, right? There's nothing distinct about it. So that's why you can't go with that. But for flyers and the other stuff, like I was saying, that's where I would use AI.
So, Neal, back to this. Like, let's rewind. Say, for example, a contractor, I'm growing. I'm not to the point where I can afford like a large firm. What are like the top 3 beginner level AI tools that I can use to help on the graphics and branding side and the menial tasks that I need in my business every day?
Well, like I said, Microsoft, if you have an account, the subscription, right, you get so many credits. So you can use Creator, which does the images, and Copilot, which will write, and you can combine them. Okay, that's one. The other one is Express, which is Adobe Express, which is free. And you can go and pick a template and pull stuff in and out and change colors. And what's cool is you can now make videos with Express. And it's free.
Hold on. What do you mean videos? Like, I'm picturing like cell phone videos. What are we talking about here? Because especially social, that would be huge.
It is. And I'm going to actually post one. I just did one with fireworks and the book coming in and kind of went a little crazy. It will make videos that are good enough for social, anything on your screen. They're not going to work on a huge screen, but for anything anybody's looking from their desktop to their phone, it's good quality.
So, Neal, one question I had is, in the past, I've talked to Will about getting logos made and imagery made. And he said that he'll basically work through a third-party website that probably offshores some of this graphic designs. Are there specific ones that are better than the others? Is that a thing?
Well, you have to just look and see what they have. There's certain ones that one begins with an F, right? They will show you 25 logos they've showed everybody, and they just adapt it, right, over and over. Just think, if you're paying the same thing for a logo as a haircut, that's not a good logo place, okay? You don't have to necessarily go to a firm either. There's a lot of good freelancers out there that are reasonable. I may charge you $500 for a logo. You want more if you're going to do a full style guide and you need all the different things. But don't think you have to go to something real expensive. But getting back to your question on the ones to use, Canva is a real popular one. Have you guys tried that one?
Oh, yeah.
It's very simple. It does have a subscription. It's not too bad. It's reasonable. Like I said, I'm cheap, so I like Express because it's free. You can upload stuff. So I will create images from Firefly, which is another Adobe product, but it costs, and bring stuff in and to Express and then make my ads. And that is to what you're saying, Will, is if you're hiring someone to do social media ads, post ads as well as post, there's probably a good chance that's what they're using, because you can actually go, once you've created it in Canva or Express, go ahead and publish it right there. You just say, I want it on my Facebook account. I want it on my Instagram. If it's a video, put it on YouTube. They know that's what they're good for. People are going to go to.
Now, Neal, has AI gotten to the point where it is able to interact with either doing quantity takeoff or doing landscape design or interior design, where you're able to upload plans and it can give you information that you need?
Yes. If you have a good photograph, the best ones, if you can get multiple views, and then you can upload and show those. I haven't done a lot of that, but they are, it's not chat. Well, maybe 4.0. 4.0, you might be able to. As long as you don't have people, chat does a pretty good job. But it's not as clear as some of the other ones. There's Crayon. You spell it with an Craiyon. That's pretty good. There's, the list goes on. You guys heard of Dolly. Dark. Oh, there's two dark ones, Dark Depth, and another one that I meant to make a list for. I got so tied up trying to get the connection that I couldn't get my list out to go over with you. But there's at least 9 out there, and you can do a search, and things. The thing they trick you is they'll say free, but you get there and say, oh, okay, you've used your one. Now you got to subscribe. And so you're taking the trouble to learn it, and it sucks you in,
Yeah, it's like that free foundation inspection, and then next thing you know,
or that was that crawl space one where no one wants to go down there, so they come up and you see them throwing mud from the truck on themselves and go, man, you got water.
Yeah. Well, and I know we've talked a lot about using and leveraging AI more so for the kind of the marketing, content, social side, but in the day-to-day life of a contractor, to be specific, the operations side, the bidding side, the selling of products. We're seeing now, we've got like landscaping contractors taking pictures of backyards and giving 3 mock-ups to a customer, then taking that and bidding it out. What are some other creative ways that you're seeing contractors leverage this for operations, Neal?
I'm seeing them write their contracts and rewrite them and adjust them depending on, let's say if they're commercial. Say you're a commercial roofer, you're going to need a different contract for an industrial, metal roof than you would for a TPO, shopping mall type thing. So they don't really play with it, but chat's really good about pulling it, or Google Gemini is real good about pulling that too. And then usually watch out for typos. They're both pretty bad about that. Even Word, surprisingly, is bad about punctuation and stuff. Yeah, it cracks me up. There's one called Quillbot. It costs about $100 a year. It's Quillbot. I use it for social a lot because you can tell it what voice you want, and it'll write it. You want it academic, you want it fluent, you want it simple. It's got all, that type. And it does a pretty good job about proofing stuff and saying, you're changing your tenses here. So it'll fix it. So as a contractor, if let's say you're writing a proposal for a large, let's say an insurance company type thing, you want to sound somewhat intelligent. It's great to check that.
Well, Neal, in regards to that, so we have, a lot of products, and I'm sorry, I got to call this out. Like, I'll scroll through social media and I feel like all the ads are AI this, AI that, AI assistant, AI bots, AI this. How much of these are truly AI, or how much of these are just essentially use case queries that are just being funneled through a bot?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think a lot of them are.
Yeah, because I go through some of them
Yeah.
and it's like, wait a minute, you're just pulling off of a normal query bot and you're just feeding me the same damn answers. You're not attached to AI.
Yep.
But you put AI in
Right.
the name.
Right. It's the hot topic. Everybody wants, that's like I told you about the graphic designers. I said, put AI in front of your title and it got people's attention, because they just don't know,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so I mean, based on percentage of what you're seeing, especially in the graphic design aspect, like how much, of those out there in the world, are really not truly AI.
I'd say about 70% when I look at them, I think they're having some image stuff and they're trying to pretend it because people will look at it. They know those are words. We're all trying to figure out how can that help me, So
Terry, we got to rebrand the podcast. Beers with Contractors AI. We are way behind the curve, buddy.
Well, we're really behind for probably other significant reasons. But I mean, Neal, I know that you're a teacher, and my expectation is what you tell your students and what I would tell folks out there is look at AI as a tool. The idea is if you can use that tool, you're going to be more valuable. If that tool can do your job, I'm just going to buy that tool. Right.
Tradies, running your small business can be demanding. You got suppliers you got to work with. You're managing crews. Hell, you're chasing sales. It's a lot to take in. Listen, if you want to grow your business, you got to stop working in it and you got to start working on it. So that's where my friends at Foundation Rescue Supply come in. You're not just getting foundation repair products and waterproofing products and air quality control products. With their nationwide distribution, you're getting a partner who knows how to help you scale. And that's why I use them. The Foundation Rescue Supply team has industry knowledge that'll help make your life easier. You get the tools, the trainings, the systems that you need to move the needle. You want your sales team to close more leads? Done, because they have the proven process for that. You need your crews to work smarter, not harder? Done. Their installation training will get you out there and rocking and rolling in the field. With Foundation Rescue Supply, you're not just buying materials here. You're buying a better business system that they have helped create. And you sell more, you install more, and you grow your team. So the bottom line is this: you get best industry pricing, you get field productivity on track, and you get more revenue out of everybody on your team. So this is your chance to step up, scale up, and thrive. If you are ready to make that happen, head to foundationrescuesupply.com, check out their catalog, and speak to my friends, their team, how you can take beyond the products with your company with Foundation Rescue Supply.
Well, and I tell graphic designers, and I know a bunch of guys that have a few years on them. And they're like, well, I don't need to learn. I go, you know what? You don't learn it, you're going to be left behind. It's just like learning Photoshop, just like, used to be, we pasted stuff up. Then came along computers. And then, you get replaced and left behind. And a lot of the younger people, surprisingly, not so much in California, but here and some of the, like Texas, some of these areas, they fight against learning new technology. I don't get it. I like it, but
I like that attitude. I'm stuck in my ways, Neal. I'm just kidding. Yeah. Well, and it's funny how that works. Everybody's wondering, like, it's like that scene from South Park, Terry, where it's like, they took our job. It's like, AI's going to take our job.
But this has happened forever. I mean, there in the 1800s, people, caught and killed whales for the blubber, and that's what everything revolved around was whales. And then along came oil. Oh, we're going to lose our jobs. Well, you might, but other people are going to get those jobs, right? And, we're going to have cars. Well, who's going to take care of the horses, right? And it just, it's always been there. It's just who said, there's an opportunity. I mean, look at Will. He makes fun of the different things I do because we both get kind of bored.
And that's our show, everybody.
Yeah. It's like, what is the joke about the dog or car, kind of thing, I'm the same way. Something kind of flashy. Hey, I want to do it. Well, you're the same. You see something that has an advantage that would be interesting that can do well. And contractors got to be the same way. I'm laughing a little at you about, I built my house at the lake, and I deliberately didn't go with drywall because during COVID, it got expensive. But I have that paneling, but it's the thin wainscoting, white kind of stuff. And I got it because it was cheaper, of all things. Well, I noticed recently I've got another place I'm going to expand out. We call it the bunkhouse, right? And I was looking and I'm going, drywall is going up in price already. The tariffs haven't hit us. What's the deal? So we might be doing a lot of paneling. But what about the wood?
Yeah. Now, Neal, one of the ways that I've seen contractors out there using AI is with automated answering services.
Yeah.
Have you seen that at all?
In fact, I forget the name of the biggest customer service one, and their stock took a drop because the AI came out. Imagine you can call some self-service place. The voice that talks to you has an Oklahoma accent, speaks American, right? The next person that call is from England, and it speaks now with an English accent and probably local to London or Manchester or whatever, right? So how is customer service going to be able to compete with that? Because we all get frustrated that we call and you always want to say, do you have anybody that speaks English? And they say they are. Okay, we have someone that speaks American, right? So think about customer service and think how quickly AI now can get it. Their problem is how they hook AI up. Will it give the wrong answers? So they've got to focus on just a certain data that they pull from.
Now, hold on. So let's talk about that for a second. By the way, you work with contractors every day, Neal. I mean, we know a lot of the same contractors. Like, how legit has this whole like AI reception thing been? I'm picturing like a glitchy robot. I mean, you had a lot of experience with it?
Not a lot. No, I've just read about it because I thought, wow, someone needs to do this every time I hang up with customer service somewhere. And then about 6 weeks ago, they came out with somebody had it and was going to do well. And I'm like, okay, as long as no one buys them and hides it,
Yeah. Well, I've heard examples through marketing, but a good case study would be like, well, Terry, you, for example, every time I ask Siri to text you, text Terry Kleinfelter. Sure, texting Terry Kleinfelter.
Yep.
And I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
You've heard me say it 100 times, but hey, and that's where I'm excited about that opportunity because I think that's what customers want is they want fast response times and answers to their questions.
Yep.
And it's just one of those where it's like, I don't feel like it's there yet, but man, it's getting really close.
I think chat is the biggest place you'll see that first. Because you know how you do chat and you wait 5 minutes for them to get back to you? They'll be immediate.
Yeah. Now, I want to talk about this too, because we're kind of getting into understanding how we can use this for marketing, and they're free resources. I've written down like 3 that you've put down. And Terry, yes, I don't have a life, so I'm going to be playing with these this weekend. I'm going to see if it can create a drawing of Terry with 5 index fingers with his wooden duck. There it is right there. But what are some of the creative ways you've seen AI using more so in the sales and bidding process? Are you seeing that in the world, Neal? Specifically speeding up that part of the process?
Not that. I think just writing the bids, not figuring out the costs, the pricing, but the right way to say stuff. And once you give it to them, how do I rewrite this for such and such?
Well, then that's a great dovetail because like when you're creating that content, like what can you actively copyright under
that's the thing.
This AI?
Yeah. They came out with the copyright thing in February. And they said if it's mostly human and it's started by a human, you can copyright it. Because there's AI assists where they fix things, check grammar and stuff like that. So that is okay. But if it turns out that the bulk of it is AI, you can't copyright it. That's why I say if you do a logo, you can't trademark it. Right now, they came out and said that in their report,
So hold on real quick. So you're saying if I went online and I created a logo with AI that I could not trademark it?
Correct.
But how is that verified, Neal?
I don't know exactly because I haven't been able to find out which they are, but I know for professors, writing-wise, we have programs that we can run it through, like Grammarly. And it'll tell you, Word, if you have it and you put it in, under editor, there's a section that says how many of this is taken from the web. And the next thing is what is written by AI. That's the thing the professors are waiting for, so they can just click on it and it'll highlight it with a little blue button underlined. So the images is going to be something similar. Let's say if I use Illustrator to create something, there's a look to it. Adobe Express, there's a look to it. So that way you can kind of, I see logos and I go, man, okay, that was that. I don't know exactly what programs are out there to check that, but I can't see it not being that long from now. What I was looking up, I didn't know if you wanted, but I can give you a list of a number of AIs if you want to try them out, Will. It's your choice. But
I'd love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to geek out over it all day.
Yeah, there's Leonardo AI. It's expensive, but people like that one the best.
Oh, well, no, skip that.
Yeah.
Terry, that you can take Leonardo for research for the
Fotor,
podcast.
Fotor. It's free. There's Night
All right,
Cafe.
I'll take that one, Terry.
Yeah, Night Cafe is free.
Now, hold on. Break these down, though, real quick. Leonardo, because
Image.
each of these have their specific use case. So
Right.
these are all image.
Right. So,
okay.
Right. So, and they have certain looks. For example, Adobe Firefly, it costs some money. It's the best. But do you know there's between minimalist and maximalist art? Minimalist has very little detail, right? Maximalist, they put everything in there. I mean, you got a peacock, it's got a jungle and everything, right? So each one, you're going to have to figure out what style. There is a look. It's called flat art, where it has people and everything, but there's no depth and they're kind of cartoony and stuff. There's that look that, you want. And so you kind of look at them, Crayon, CRAIYON, I told you. I like it because it'll give you 9 options, as opposed to some of the other ones. Keep in mind, some are only good for web. They don't give you high enough res for print. So
interesting.
Make sure before you do a great job and you finesse it and you change your prompts and, this is great, and you download it and you want to save it for print and you go to 300 and it's this big, You're like, okay. So
sorry, I'm going to show my age real quick. Terry, you remember that movie Spinal Tap? Did you ever watch Spinal Tap? Okay, so yeah, they draw on a piece of napkin that they want this Stonehenge to come down in the final part of their show, right? And they build it up through the entire movie. And then finally the moment comes at the end of the movie. Well, they made the Stonehenge to scale to what was drawn on the napkin. So it comes down and it's literally like 1 foot by 1 foot. So that's where I see kind of the same follies. It's like, we didn't know it, but Spinal Tap was telling us more about AI before AI existed. That you're pushing that stuff to AI and it's like, hey, your delivery's here. And bloop, it's like the pixels are teeny tiny and all that, but that is so funny. So, Neal, you're kind of becoming the subject matter expert in this. I have to assume that we're talking about this from a contractor's perspective. How can we leverage AI to improve our processes, our systems, speed things up? How can we get more social posts? But interestingly enough, what are you seeing on the other end where customers are using AI to double check contractors and things like that?
I know that they're using them to check Sherman-Williams paint things to make sure it's mixed right. That there's things you can look up and stuff. Yeah.
Like how?
I can't tell you.
He can, but he's gonna have to kill you, Will.
Yeah. Well, no, I'll be killed. I'll be killed because I was really. You had someone, hit the camera.
Crazy.
So, one thing I forgot to tell you real quick is, as a contractor, you can use QR codes for so many different things, right? How do you guys get QR codes?
I go to a QR generator account that I got.
Okay.
Yeah.
I asked someone.
Yeah. Well,
he asked me to do it. Terry asked me.
Well, Adobe Express you can go to. It says QR. You click on it. You bring it in. You can put your logo in the middle. You can pick out colors. You can, set them up. All you got to do is put the link in, whether it's a website or your business card but that's another way contractors can save some money because you're paying somebody, and you can have one for your vehicle. And you can set one up so now you know where they came from. If you put a QR code for just like you would phones, how we have phones to figure out where an ad or something they're calling. Same with the QR codes. You can set up a dozen of them, go to different landing pages or however you want. I always say for business people, instead of, printing out, you know, expensive business cards like this cool metal one, right? You can have it on your phone, a QR code, and they can scan it right then. I think I told you this with QRs. I can find out if someone's really interested in my service. They'll take your business card for sure. But if I show it to them on my phone, if they don't really care about scanning it, I know they aren't interested in me, right? But if they scan it, I'm going to call them up. So
I think that's just insane also because of, the fact that when we talk about AI for contracting businesses, we naturally are inclined to say, how does it help our business? But we also have to understand, how are our customers using it? Because even my 12-year-old is pummeling everything through all sorts of AI engines and things like that. And naturally, that's my future customer, right? The Gen Alpha of the world. And thinking of like, man, I have to interface with or interact with this new generation coming up that is totally inclined to AI. But on that note, Neal, when we're talking through this, and I want a super low barrier of entry here, and I'm talking, I have a $500,000 a year handyman company, and I just want the crayon version, not the one you mentioned before with the funky spelling. Where do I learn to, and this may be in your book, Neal, I don't know, but where do I find like the basic entry level to say, hey, where do I go?
well, yeah, my book will have it. But as I tell you, Canva, Figma, and Express can all design websites. So let's say you want a landing page, so, it can do it all. There is, for social posts and everything else, there's AIs that will check your headlines to see if they have the right impact for the audience. So let's say you wrote a headline, but you wanted it for Gen Z, and it comes back and says, hey, that's for the baby boomers, it's like, but they grade it. They do argue with each other though, but there's, I'll take one, it'll give you suggestions. I put it in another one and it's, that's not good. You want this one, but there's ways to evaluate your writing.
Now, Neal, when you're looking at that, like, the grading or specifically setting it up for a certain type of tone, are those going to be accurate, or is it just like basically telling me what I want to hear?
I've had it not like my headlines and give me alternatives, but there's a couple of them. I was trying to see if I had it on my list I pulled up, but I don't see them right offhand. But there are some that will look at it and give it like a 0 to 100 type. And then if you have a subscription, you can say, well, give me alternatives, And I usually look at them and go, oh, that is better.
Well, it's funny. Let's put this to the test real quick. You ready, Terry?
Okay, let's do it.
All right, I'm pulling up a screen.
I don't know where this is going, but it can't be good.
All right,
I'm sitting there going, uh-oh.
That's all right. We're going to...
here we go.
I want to add some flavor here. I need a 12 by 12 shed built out of 2 by 4s, the walls and floors. I need it to have... What type of shingle siding will it be, Terry? Hardy plank?
What, siding? Dude,
Yep.
T111.
Ooh, okay. We're going to see if
Let's see if it knows what that is.
T111 siding with a... What are you doing? 3 by 12 pitch?
Yeah, and just asphalt shingle. See what it does.
12 pitch.
312 on asphalt? You're really testing it.
Now we got to be clear here. Asphalt 3-tab shingles.
Ooh.
I also need to know how long this will take me with my lazy friend
Terry. Knew how that's going. And
helping me that has a heart condition and possibly a drinking problem.
One of those is true.
Isn't recording
and
this.
my heart is perfectly fine.
Hold on. I hope Drake isn't recording all these typos. So,
he is.
No, I don't want to look it up in the dictionary. Okay, so hold on. What details are we missing here, Neal? You're the AI expert. What do I need to pump into this before I hit enter?
That looks pretty good. I'd hit copy because you might want to also see what, say, Google Gemini does or see what other options you
hold on
get.
1 second. I misspelled friend. Hey, at least I put friend in there, Terry. Okay, so hold on. Let me think through this. I need a 12 by 12 shed built out of 2 by 4s. I need to have T111 signed through. I didn't put specifically what I wanted. Can you make a material list for me?
How many doors?
Oh,
Oh,
good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And window.
Okay, so
And you know the real test of this,
4-foot
Will, is
door.
gonna, if it remembers the drip edge, which is something you
Oh,
always
let's put
forget.
it to the test here.
No, I'm
One
just
4-foot
curious to
door
see
in
if it
front
says a
and
312 is
2
going to have shingles.
windows, each 2 by 3 feet. All right. All right. So let me think about this, and also I need to know how long this will take me with my lazy friend Terry helping with this. I'm gonna keep that in there. Let's see what she says. All right. There it goes. You'll need 16 to 18 studs per wall, 16 inches on center, approximately 4 walls,
The 12 by
64.
12 you said?
Yep, here it is right here. It's spitting it out. Floor joists, assuming 16 inches on center, you'll need 12 joists, 12-inch long, rim joist, 4 pieces at 12 long, roof trusses. Ooh, we're getting into roof trusses. This is a fancy shed, Terry. And then we got our T111. Here's our roof deck, OSB or plywood, asphalt shingles, roofing felt. Oh, it got your drip edge, Terry. There it is, buddy. 36 to 40 feet of drip edge, doors and windows, and then fasteners. Brought those in, concrete and foundation if needed. Concrete for 4x6 corner post footings. Tools needed. It started to throw in tools. Estimated time frame. Let's see what it says. Building this shed with Terry could be challenging, given his parking and potential drinking problems. So let's estimate some generous timelines for the first time. I love the fact that hey, chat cares for you, Terry.
Apparently.
Site preparation, foundation 1 day, 2 days, roof structure 1 day, siding. Dude, I think we could tackle this in faster than 7 to 8 days, bro.
Well, if you
So-
look under the framing, it says up there it's factoring in extra time for Terry too.
But
Extra time for breaks.
so did it factor in how much beer we're going to need for this?
Actually, well, let's ask. So,
Well, wait, before you do that, didn't it miss something? Underlayment?
No, it had
let's see
felt.
here. We had OSB up here. So hold on. I could be wrong. It could be under roof. So no.
Because
Here's
312,
roof
you're definitely
felt.
going to need
Roof
underlayment.
decking. There's
Yeah.
your OSB plywood, roofing felt, drip edge. So it got the underlayment for the roof, but assuming T111 doesn't need the underlayment.
Yeah.
But it is funny.
How many studs did it say per wall?
Let's see here. So material list, 2x4 lumber. The walls around 96 inches height per wall, assuming.
8 foot, yeah.
You will need 16 to 18 studs per wall for framing, assuming 16 inches on center spacing. For 4 walls, approximate 64 to 72 studs, depending on the design adjustments. So that's in. I don't know if that's assuming our windows or doors. So wait, are you running your calculator right now, Terry?
Yeah, so if you're doing a 12-foot wall, 16 inches on center, 9 in the space, 1 to end on, so you need 10 plus top
Oh
and
yeah,
bottom.
you got to do your bottom and top plates.
So it's not bad.
It's a start.
Yeah.
The,
64 to 72. So, yeah.
interesting, and it's taking into account our drinking problem and heart conditions, Terry.
Hey, Will,
and that's what's
did you close it
important.
off? Did you close it off?
Oh no, I just
Ask it to
unshared,
draw the
but-
plans.
Ooh, let's get creative here. Can you draw me plans?
Yes, for another $54.99.
When it spits out the blueprints, I'm going to be like, no, I need it for my friend Terry.
Oh, it's just, yeah.
Okay, so I copied it. Would you like me to create a simple sketch in the shed plans for you? I said yes.
It's thinking.
Oh, I need to be in my Canvas account. But I just need to say yes. So it goes to show you, Terry. I'm struggling.
You got to be smarter than the
Did-
machines will.
Yeah, you need to log in.
I went
Yeah.
into a free account just to see, but that's pretty cool. We got to see a little bit about throwing together a 12 by 12 shed. Terry, we are going to have way too much fun with this when we say we need you to design a convertible bus van into a beer truck that we can travel the country on the Beers with Contractors World Tour coming up soon.
Have it design a beer bar for your house that holds all the kegs?
Don't you tempt me with a good time, sir. Well, Neal, listen, when we have guests on, we always ask this question. It's kind of our finale question. You know, I'm known as the patron saint of screwing things up, and I try to screw it up so bad I can brag about it like a Bama fan. Typically, I say Texan, but I figured I'd throw the flair in there. So, in your career, what's a screw up you've had that maybe at least you can look back?
Well, some of them I can't say because they might offend your audience.
There's only 3 listeners. We're up to 6.
Yeah, I don't know if I can say this. You can edit it out, but I silk screened some shirts and gave it to some friends, and they said parking in rear only, and my boss got hold of them by accident.
The creative guy.
I thought I was
the
fired
graphic
for
designer.
sure.
Wait a
And I
minute.
said,
Did you say he got you fired? Oh,
No, I didn't get a raise for a long. I finally got another job because that was it for me. There was no I'd hit the glass ceiling, so to speak, that I was not
that's
going up.
fun.
But she wasn't supposed to get it, but
She did.
now hold on.
Yeah.
What decade was this, Neal? Because when I say and I mean that generously,
yeah.
I could imagine that in the last 20.
I know. Well, that was
24
sexual
months.
harassment. Let me tell you. But probably the other one
That's
was remember Scott Hill? Did you know Scott Hill? Yeah. I was in his football thing, at OU, and he had one of those big suites, and Switzer was there, and Switzer came up, and I won't say what he did. He's a little, happy, and he put his arm around me and said, "You ever been this close to a famous coach?" And I said, "Does Bear Bryant count?" He spit his beer. And he goes, "Scott, get him out of here." No, he was actually
that's
pretty
funny.
good. He was pretty good. But I realized afterwards, my wife's like, "Don't say that."
Hey, I know you Bama fans got to poke fun when you can get it. So, but Neal, man, I can't thank you enough. I love
sure.
touching on this topic. I want to be very clear. I'm not a subject matter expert in it. You are. I know your book is on Amazon. We will put the links in the notes. I'm excited about your new book coming out in May. And just for time frame, this will be airing sometime late April.
Okay.
So
yeah, if you
keep
would
an
let
eye
me
out
know
for
so I
those
can
books.
post it. I know you guys do, but
Yeah, and then I would love to. Well, first off, Neal, what's the title of the new book?
marketing design using AI.
Okay.
Yeah, because this one was aimed at graphic designers. So
Yeah. And well, I know folks will be able to find you on the Amazon link that we'll put in, but how do just contractors, because we work with a lot of the same contractors, you work with contractors every day. How can they get a hold of you if they got questions about this stuff?
go to hettingerdesign.com. You can call me, 405-475-0537. I'm always helping people and talking to people.
Yeah. Well, Neal, I've had a blast.
Yeah, thank you.
Drake,
I appreciate it.
I know you're sitting there just sitting behind the scenes producing this show thinking, what am I getting myself into? But Terry, sounds like our drunk asses are going to be building a shed this weekend.
Yep.
But cool. Well, I appreciate you guys listening out there. Neal, I appreciate you. Terry,
Yeah,
I
thank
do
you, guys.
appreciate you, sir. And
Yeah.
Drake, appreciate you in the background. But otherwise, we will see you guys next week on another episode of Beers with Contractors. Y'all have a good one.
All right. Thank you.
See ya.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Beers with Contractors. We hope you enjoyed our chat as much as we did. Before we say our final goodbyes, a friendly reminder. Beers with Contractors encourages responsible drinking. If you choose to enjoy a beverage during our time together, please do so in moderation and only if you're of legal drinking age in your country or state. Furthermore, the advice and insights shared in this podcast are for informational purposes only. Always consult with professionals and experts in your field, and be sure to follow local laws and regulations regarding licensing and permits. We're here to help, entertain, and inspire, but your safety and compliance are important. So, as you head out into the world of construction and contracting, remember to build responsibly and make decisions that stand the test of time. Thanks for joining us today. We'll catch you on the next episode of Beers with Contractors. Until then, cheers to your success.